Hey everybody, it's your pal Jonah back again with another video, and I actually decided to do my hair today. So, 2017 is over. Praise Jesus. 2017 was nobody's favorite year, but if you ask me, it was a great year for movies. Christopher Nolan exploded both the box office and our expectations. Marvel came out with 3 good movies. Horror made a huge comeback with Annabelle Creation, Get Out, and the If Stranger Things was directed by Stephen King, It. And against all odds, DC actually made a good movie. Crazy, I know. As 2017 is now over, I thought I would follow the lead of more popular and some would say better YouTubers and give you guys a list of my favorite movies of 2017. Except I actually waited until 2017 was over. So who's better now? By the way, the keywords are some and favorite, not all and best. Just thought I'd throw that out there before you yell at me down in the comments. In no particular order, It. If you don't know what this movie is, then you must have been in some sort of hibernation for the past year. If that's the case, first off, welcome back. It's great to have you here. Welcome to the real world. And secondly, it is a horror movie based off of the You Thought Lord of the Rings Was Long novel by Stephen King. It follows 7 young teenagers who battle against an evil entity that's been terrorizing the town's children and takes the physical form of Pennywise, a clown with a forehead thicker than Nicki Minaj who went from terror to meme just a few simple edits later. Dunkirk. If you ask me, this was the best movie that came out this year, and the best movie by Christopher Nolan since Inception. Dunkirk is a beautifully shot, masterfully scored, and brilliantly executed war epic about the evacuation of over 300,000 Allied troops from the French port city of Dunkirk. If you're a fan of war films or World War II in general, this is definitely a must-see. Or, you know, if you just like great stories and amazing filmmaking. Logan. One word. Wow. This is by far the best superhero movie I've ever seen next to The Dark Knight. Gritty, emotional, and at the same time heartwarming, we finally got to see the R-rated Wolverine film we've all been waiting for. It follows an aged Logan as he reluctantly escorts a young girl and one of the last mutants to safety, dodging danger and evil soldiers at every turn. So it's basically The Last of Us with superheroes. If you like harrowing and grounded action flicks, or, I don't know, just have good tastes, then definitely you have to see this movie. Ghost in the Shell. I know, it was a poor man's Blade Runner, it wasn't as good as the anime, blah blah blah, white people suck. But it was still a pretty good sci-fi movie, and definitely the best live action anime movie so far. Not like there's that much competition. Ghost in the Shell is about a young woman saved from a horrible accident and turned into a robot super soldier named Major. While trying to stop a new terrorist threat, she finds out that she had been lied to and that she was not in fact saved, but instead her past was stolen from her. While not the best movie, it was really interesting. The cinematography and film as a whole was beautiful to look at. The pacing and story were adequate, the action sequences were solid, and it wasn't nearly as bad as everyone said it was. I really enjoyed this movie, and if you have an open mind and like sci-fi, I would definitely recommend at least giving this movie a shot. Baby Driver. If you're anything like me 6 months ago, you've probably heard that this movie was great, but have yet to see it. Drop what you're doing, go watch it. Baby Driver is about a young getaway driver coerced into working for the mob. After a heist goes awry, he finds himself on the run from both the cops and his former partners. Now, the action sequences are excellent by themselves, but what really sets this film apart is that all the action sequences are set to music. So it makes for a really fun, rhythmic, and unique take on the bloated action genre. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend you watch it. It's a really fun film. It's just a fun film, you know? It's one of those movies where like you don't have to think too much. You just sit back and go for a ride. It's really, really good, and I would totally watch it over and over and over again if I could. But then I'd probably get sick of it, and I like it, so I don't want to get sick of it. So don't do that. At least watch it once. Get Out. The less you know about this movie, the better. I went into it completely blind. No, what? I went into it completely blind, and I highly recommend that you do the same. So without giving too much away, Get Out is a comedy slash horror slash satire from Jordan Peele about a black man who goes to meet his white girlfriend's parents for the first time. Pretty quickly, it becomes clear that not everything is quite as it seems, and his girlfriend's parents aren't as welcoming as they first appear to be. And that's all I'll say. To be completely honest, I actually had really low expectations for this film, but I was pleasantly blown away by how good it actually was. was. Not only was it a really funny social commentary, it was also probably the most original horror movie I've ever seen, so I would definitely recommend checking it out if you're a fan of the horror genre. Silence. Martin Scorsese is one of my favorite directors, so I had no doubt that I would love this film. But I had no idea it would be as good as it actually ended up being. Silence follows two young Jesuit priests who travel to 16th century Japan in search of their mentor who went missing and supposedly apostatized from the Christian faith. Now, if you know anything about Martin Scorsese, then I don't have to tell you that this was a beautifully shot and excellently crafted film. The cinematography was incredible. The performances were probably the best I've seen from Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver so far. The whole movie barely had any music, which really enforced the emotion and themes of silence and hopelessness in the film, and the story was really well executed. Now, I will give a warning, this film was really hard to watch in some places, because it didn't shy away from showing the brutality of the persecution that many Christians face early on in Japan. So it's definitely not a film for everybody. That said, it has to be one of the best films I've ever seen, and I would highly recommend you go watch it. Your Name. How could I make this video without talking about anime? Everyone's favorite thing to hate. Your Name was my favorite movie from this year. It definitely wasn't the best, that still goes to Dunkirk, but I really enjoyed this film, and I immediately fell in love with it as soon as I saw it. Now, technically this movie came out in 2016, but it didn't get a wide release in America until April of this year, or last year, because it's 2018 now. So I'm including it anyway because it was phenomenal, and I couldn't make a video of my favorite movies of this year without talking about this. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the works of Makoto Shinkai, which I imagine you are because not many people watch anime movies, at least not as many people as should watch anime movies, but I highly recommend checking out his other works as well. All of his films are beautiful, emotional, and really passionate works of art, but Your Name really stands out. Much like Get Out, this movie is best seen when you know next to nothing about it, so I'm not going to give a detailed description, but instead just give a brief synopsis of kind of what the movie's about, so you at least get an idea. Your Name follows two teenagers, one a shrine maiden from a small town, and the other a high school student living in Tokyo, who end up switching bodies after a mysterious comet binds the two together. While it may at first seem like just another body switching movie, it quickly turns into something so much greater than that. I could honestly do a whole video about this movie. This film is so full of life and emotion, and you could really tell that a lot of time and passion went into this project. It's gorgeous to look at. The art style is just beautiful. I really can't understate how just incredibly good looking this film is. The soundtrack is awesome and it fits perfectly with the film, and it's probably one of the best anime movies I've ever seen. I would put it up there with Spirited Away and maybe not Castle in the Sky or Wolf Children, but it's way up there. Please, I beg you, do not let the anime part throw you off, because this movie was incredible, and I would hate for you to miss out on it just because it's anime. Even though it's anime, it still has a great story, so if you like good stories, then there's no reason you shouldn't watch this movie. I mean, you probably went and saw Inside Out and Zootopia 3 times, so what's the difference? The only difference is this one's in a different language. But there's English voiceovers you can find. I mean, they're not as good as the Japanese version, but if you don't like Japanese or reading, then just go watch the English version. It's still an amazing movie, and you have to see it. So there you have it, some of my favorite films from 2017. Now, I will say there are still a few movies from 2017 that I've heard are really good, but I haven't seen yet. And I also didn't include every single movie I liked this year in my video. So if I missed some of your favorites, I'm terribly sorry, but you can go ahead and tell me your favorite movies from this year in the comments below, because I'd love to know what you guys thought of the film industry this year. With that being said, make sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, and also don't forget to hit that little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you're notified every time I upload a new video. For now, this is your pal Jonah signing off, saying see you next time on Jonah Entertainment. Bye, everybody. This one was The Fifth Wave. What was this movie about? I don't remember this movie. It came out last year, but I don't remember it. Oh, I remember what this is. I didn't like it. I thought it was dumb. That's